What's up? Insightful game.
How are y'all doing this evening? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. And we hope that you all are doing well. We hope that you all have been having a good week so far and that you are just enjoying life and making things happen out there in this good world. So, first things first, how's your week been going, Lakeisha?
So far, so good. I can't really complain. Been busy at work. We are going into week 4 of our summer academy. So to say the least, like I said, it's a lot of work, but it's good work nonetheless. So like I said, no complaints. Our students are having fun. They're enjoying themselves. They're learning a lot, and things of that nature. And so although I am tired most of the time, it makes it all worth the while. So what about you, cuz?
Yeah, been doing all right. The week just started, so just been kind of busy trying to get back in the swing of actually being back in the office after being working from home for a year and a half. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been kind of challenging, but I'm making it. I'm making
Good.
it. So
Good, good,
right
good.
now, at least it's just a few days, 3 days on, 2 days remote for right now. So it's a good adjustment
Yeah.
period for me. But yeah, so nonetheless, but I've been doing pretty well. Been doing pretty
Good.
well. Oh,
Good.
yeah. So we were just talking and we didn't even introduce ourselves for any new visitors or new listeners that we have. But I am your girl Shnequia, aka S.
And I am Lakeisha, your girl, aka L.
And together we form Insightful Conversations with SNL. And while you're watching this video, if you don't mind hitting the like button on this video and feel free to leave some comments for us as we talk during the episode. We want to hear from you. And also make sure that you are subscribing to our YouTube channel and liking our Facebook page and following us on Instagram too. If you haven't been doing so already, we will remind you again at the end of the episode too. So don't worry about that. But in the meantime, just go ahead and like this video while you're at it. All right. So first things first, we always like to get started with what we call buzzworthy topic segment. So, Lakeisha, what has been buzzworthy for you this week?
Um, so I don't know if you all heard about this story, but it has gone completely viral, and I thought it was so cute when I heard about the story via YouTube and some other different social media outlets. But the story basically centers around a woman who was forbidden to try on her dream wedding dress. Um, Back in the day when her and her husband wanted to get married due to her being black. Um, during those times, especially in Alabama, and the woman is from Alabama. I want to say when I read the story, took place in Birmingham, Alabama, and things like that. She was saying at the time there were no black bridal boutiques in Birmingham, Alabama, and the white ones that were there for any black customers, especially black women who wanted to try on a wedding dress, they usually had to go around to the back of the store in the basement and could only purchase used wedding dresses and things of that nature. And so her family decided to get together. The idea came from her granddaughter, and they basically decided as a family to give her the experience that she never ever got the opportunity to get almost 70 years later. And so they reached out to David's Bridal. And, David's Bridal was on board, gave her a tour of the store and things of that nature, and had different dresses for her to try out. But she tried on a dress that was very similar to the one that she wanted back in her wedding day during the time period with her and her husband got married. And like I said, it went completely viral. So to see her in a wedding dress at the age of 94, it was such a blessing. Like I said, it was such a very just not only cute gesture, but a very humbling and very loving gesture by her family to take a time in her life where she was robbed of that experience just because she was Black, and to be able to not only to recreate her vision, but take it to another level. So kudos to her family, and things like that. What about you, Shnequia? What's your buzzworthy topic for the week?
Wait, hold on. She was 94, you said?
She's 94 today.
Oh, 94 today.
Yeah, so
Okay.
basic no, when she was young, she was probably like in her 20s or so, when her and her husband got married. But during the Jim Crow era, with all the laws based upon race and things of that nature, what Blacks could do, what Blacks could not do. Like I said, at that particular time, there were no Black bridal boutiques in Birmingham, Alabama. And
Okay.
so the white ones, she stated in an article that I read that, you had to go around to the back of the store. And even when you did that, they still couldn't purchase, brand new wedding dresses. And so as a result, they had a small wedding, very intimate, but she didn't get that dress that she at that time she wanted. And so, like I said, her family decided to step in almost 70 plus years later to give her an experience that was taken away from her, all due to her race and ignorance, to say the least, during that time period.
Yeah. Well, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Kudos to her at 94.
Kudos.
Love
She
it.
looks beautiful. So y'all have to look up, if y'all have not seen this story on social media, y'all definitely need to look her up. She is a beautiful, beautiful woman at the age of 94 in a wedding gown.
Yay, yay. Hopefully that won't be us though, having to wait that long to wear a wedding gown.
Yeah.
I'm hoping not. But
Yeah.
but Lord, it's whatever your will is. So
Oh yes.
anyway,
Oh
we'll
yes.
we'll leave it at that. Okay, so me, there's actually been two things that's been buzzworthy for me this week. First, I want to start off. I just kind of want to. I hate to start on a somber note, but recently and recent as far as yesterday, that's how recent it was. Keyshia Coles' mother died, Frankie. And it was unexpected. Apparently, she died of a drug overdose on her birthday. And that was so sad because I had read about it this morning on the Shade Room, and I was just like, wow. Now, as of right now, only two of the children have released a statement. Keyshia and Neffy, I think that was the oldest sister.
Yeah.
They haven't released a statement as of yet. But I just want to like basically just send my condolences and prayers
Yeah.
to the Cole family, Keisha's family and everything like that, because that just goes to show like what we were talking about before. Addiction is real.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, and I know that was something that she had been dealing with
Oh yeah.
throughout her entire life. So I hate that it ended like this, but I'm glad that she's finally can be at peace.
Yes. 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 And I remember watching Keyshia and her family in the show that she had. I want to say it was was it early 2000s?
Yeah.
Um, and just the ups and downs that they went through as a family. And I remembered one of, her mother's addiction, to drugs and alcohol was one of the main topics during that time. And regardless, Keyshia stood very firm and stood by her mom's side through the good, the bad, and the
Yeah.
ugly. And so you don't never want to see your family members in a state
Yeah.
such as that. And so, like you, Shnequia, my thoughts and prayers go out to their family, because I can only imagine, going through something such as that. And that's probably why Keyshia and Neffy have yet to release a statement, just probably just trying to just digest, everything at the present moment.
Yeah. So maybe they'll release something later, but I know as of we doing this episode, they hadn't
Yeah.
released anything. So yeah, but big prayers out to them and their family.
Yeah.
The other buzzworthy moment is okay, the Normani Cardi B new music video called Wild Side. I'm not sure if y'all have heard that. For those who may not have heard of Normani, Normani was a member of the group Fifth Harmony. Um, it was 5 of them, of course, and they basically shot to fame from the show X Factor. So they was a really big girl group for a few years, and they broke up, I want to say maybe like a 2 years ago or something like that. And so Normani has, gone solo, and this is her second actual solo project that she's released, because the very first song was a song called Motivation that she released in 2019.
I remember that.
Yeah. So she released this song with Cardi B. It's actually a sample of the Aaliyah song One in a Million. You remember that song?
Mm-hmm.
I love that song. So buzz has just been going on about this particular video and this song. I personally like the song. I love the vibe of it. I love the feel. The choreography in the video, I felt like Normani killed it. It's definitely a very sensual song and video. And I felt like the video definitely made sure that it matched what the song was talking about. So, and Cardi B, a lot of people was talking about Cardi B's presence in the video. Some people were saying that they felt like she didn't belong on the song because they felt like she didn't really add anything to it. They talked about her part in the video because there was a scene where both Normani and Cardi was nude, or it looked like they were nude in the video, at least that scene. But I actually liked the song. I thought the video was really good too. So that's buzzworthy for me. What did you think of it, Lakesha? I know you had some other thoughts.
From an artistic expression, she did a great job. Like I said, I also enjoyed the dance moves, and some of her costume changes. I'm not going to say I was a fan of all of them. For me, it was just a little bit too much for my spirit in some scenes, especially to see with her and Cardi B, where it looked like the two of them were nude. The only thing that was really keeping you from seeing anything was their hair, covering up their body. So at that point, I had to, for personally, like I said, for my spirit, it was a little bit too much, so I had to cut it off. But she's a phenomenal artist. Like I said, I've liked a lot of her past work. Like I said, just for me, what was going on in the video, I couldn't necessarily sit up there and watch it. But like I said, I don't hate on anybody else. Like I said, just for me, that wasn't necessarily my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's definitely viewer discretion is advised. I would definitely say that. And, some people may think it's not, for them, and that's fine too. But nonetheless, I think it's a good song, and I hope that it does well, because this is really big for Normani. Which is part of the reason why I think they added Cardi onto the song, was so that it could get a big push on radio and music videos and things like that. So kudos to them. All right, so are we ready to get into this episode?
Yeah.
Get into our topic? Okay, so this episode, we want to target this discussion around platonic friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we titled this, we said we're just friends. Just friends. We can put that in quotation mark, even though it's not in the title. But anyway, so how do we want to start off with this conversation? Pretty much like, what are your thoughts about platonic friendships, Lakesha? Like, when you hear that word, the term platonic friendships, what do you think about?
So the most overarching theme that comes to my mind when I think of platonic friendships are two individuals who have been friends for quite some time. When it comes probably to any and all things, they're there for one another. They hang out, they can kiki. They've been through some things, whether that's the good, bad, and the ugly. But they are attracted to one another. You can feel the sexual tension between the two of them, whether it's just the two of them or it can be people from the outside looking in. They know that there's chemistry there and that they have the potential, if the two of them wanted to take the relationship or their friendship to the next level, that they could. And and things like that. So that's what comes to mind when I think of platonic uh friendships. What about yourself?
Okay. So when I think of it, because I like to look up definitions of what it means, even though I had what I thought it meant. But one of the definitions that I looked up, it was basically saying that it's an intimate friendship or relationship without the presence of sex or feelings involved. And so I know I personally want to just express that a lot of times when people think of platonic friendships, they think of the opposite sex a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, but it can be the same sex too.
Most definitely.
So we want to kind of put that out there too, just to let you know that. But yeah, so with platonic friendships, I think it can be a highly debated topic a lot of times because people often question whether or not is it possible to be platonic friends with someone. So I think that's a good place where we can start. Is it possible? What do you think?
It's definitely possible. I mean, you see it, each and everywhere that you go. I'm pretty sure that there's not one adult, not somebody that I can think of and or know, that wouldn't sit up here and tell you at some point or another, not only have they probably had one platonic friendship, but probably multiple, like I said, individuals that they've been attracted to in some shape, form, and or fashion. I think for both individuals, they really have to communicate,
Mm-hmm.
um, with regards to if they decide, they want to see where the friendship could possibly go. If they decide to take it to the next level, whether that's dating, um, that's courting, that's a full-fledged committed relationship, and things like that. But can it be done? Most definitely. But like I said, the two of you all have got to be mature. You definitely, definitely, definitely have to sit down and talk, because if things go awry, like I said, you have the potential to ruin a great friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the thing that you always have to keep at the forefront. Like, is it worth it if we, decide to go there? If and this thing doesn't work, then what? And I don't necessarily think a lot of people sometimes think about the then what part. We're just in this butterfly type of feeling. You make me feel this way. I feel this way about
Basically,
you.
yeah.
You hot. I'm hot. The people are saying that we hot. We look hot together. So why not? You know me. I know you. Why not go there? But I think there's still so many levels and crevices that you have yet to uncover, because just because you my BFF and this, that, and the third, it don't necessarily mean that we're gonna be great with being in a relationship. And even not a relationship, just deciding to take it to whatever level we decide to take it to. So to me, both individuals got to be mature going into a situation such as that. What about yourself, cuz? How you feel about it?
Um, yeah, I like you. I do agree that platonic friendships can occur. I think that they're possible. I also think that there definitely has to be a level of communication that's
Mm-hmm.
involved because I think both people need to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And I feel like also we have to clearly know if this is a platonic friendship or not. And what I mean by that is we need to be on the same page because I might think we platonic
Exactly.
friendships and
Exactly.
you may not. And that causes a problem right there. So I feel like you definitely have to make sure that you both are on the same page and you're clearly defining what it is. And being okay with the fact if y'all are both not on the same page and figuring out, okay, well, what can we do to make sure that, that this situation doesn't become more awkward or things
Yeah.
like that. So I definitely think that that needs to occur. I can see how it could become problematic. Platonic friendships, especially like I said, if the communication was not there in the beginning, and especially if someone, one or both parties catches feelings
Yeah.
um, for each other, that can, be very weird
It can.
and
It
strange.
can.
So it's kind of like, okay, so where do we go from here? Like, what are we doing? So, but yeah, but in a nutshell, I definitely think that it can be possible. Yeah.
In your opinion, what do you think are the pros or the strengths of taking it to the next level in a platonic friendship?
I would say definitely if there was a mutual interest in both. And I feel like if in the beginning we had some type of communication about the fact that, okay, I like you, you like me. I think that, this could be possibly good for us. Let's see where this is going. I feel like if we are both invested in wanting to take it to the next level, and I feel like if it's to the point where we feel like, okay, we just can't be friends, just like that song by Ariel and Deborah Cox.
Yeah.
Like, we just can't be friends because it's just like, I can't live without you. Not on some type of, clinginess type stuff.
Right.
Not that when I say not live without you, but I mean, just like this just isn't enough for me. This doesn't satisfy me. This doesn't fulfill me, that we are just friends and that wanting to be more. But I know you didn't quite ask me this, but when I think of pros of just platonic friendships in general, I think about just being able to expand your social circle, because a lot of times when you have friends, whether it's the opposite sex or if it's someone that you're not attracted to, you get to learn a lot more about people.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get a chance to learn about like what guys like, what girls like, or whatever. And I think that can help you as you go into pursuing a romantic relationship. And I think it also is helpful in the sense that you can learn about yourself a lot of times, because we think that we may be just the best things since sliced bread when it comes
Yeah.
to relationships, but sometimes that platonic friend can be able to tell us about ourselves and be like, you know what, you kind of got this going on that you need to work on. You kind
Yeah.
of clean, or you can be annoying at times or something like that. And they can tell you about that. But
Yeah.
maybe this might be what a potential mate might be looking for. Do you possess the
Yeah.
quality of what it is that you're looking for? And I think sometimes a platonic friend can be able to tell you that.
So really making you look at the man in the
Right.
mirror.
Exactly.
I
That you
gotcha.
wouldn't be able to see otherwise.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with you because I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also it can help you improve communication skills too.
Yeah.
Especially if you're the type of person that, may be very shy, introverted, and you may not know exactly what to say to someone that you're interested in. That platonic friend can kind of maybe give you some pointers or some tips on exactly like maybe how you can approach someone, like how can you say hello, things like that.
I
So those
agree.
will be some of my big pros.
And I think even the opposite end of that, you talked about, if you are very shy, they can help in that context. But even somebody that is very much, very blunt, very aggressive, and things like that, having that individual to step in and be like, hey, although I know who you are and what you may have meant when you said X, Y, and Z, the next person may not necessarily understand and or get that. So, maybe next time you want to approach it from this context and not necessarily that. Or when you use that word, that word comes with this type of energy. So, moving forward, you just may want to think about just, different ways of approaching and giving them some examples of how to best navigate those words. Because I feel like a lot of times we will take in the advice of a platonic friend more so than just somebody in our circle that we just call a friend or an associate um, or things like that. Because like I said, for a lot of times those individuals we've known for quite some time, and like I said, they've had the opportunity to see us in so many different lights. Whether those experiences were great, whether they were horrible, whether they were bad, and at the end of the day, they still there. And so, yeah, I may still get a little upset with you or a little emotional and things of that nature. I have the capacity to grasp that what it is that you're saying to me, although in that moment I may not necessarily enjoy it. It may not feel good. I may not really appreciate it, but being able at some point to sit down and process and be like, you know what, they were right.
Right.
And so if I, want X, Y, and Z, then I've got to change, the way in which I navigate, in which I move, in this life. And I think that's where a platonic friend can definitely
Mm-hmm.
be of a benefit to someone.
Mm-hmm. So let's flip it and let's talk about the cons
The cons.
of platonic friendships, because there's always some cons to a pro.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
What do you think of some cons?
Well,
Obviously, the obvious is that someone could develop feelings. I mentioned that earlier. That could definitely happen, and then that's awkward.
very, very awkward, especially like you said. My dad has always told me, my dad and my mom, watch people actions.
Mm-hmm.
Watch what people, if somebody tells you what they gonna do or tells you about themselves, then you need to believe it. And so a lot of times we may get in our head, we may get in this fantasy land, oh, he did this or she did that, or maybe what they did, you have taken it to a whole nother level, in your head and your mind. And like you said, that person ain't even thinking about you in that particular context. And so when you do approach them, or maybe you don't approach them, maybe you see them out and about and you see them in another light. Maybe they with somebody else, or this, that, a third, or maybe they make a comment and it's just like, whoa, hold up. I was thinking that we here, but we ain't really here. You there and I'm way over there.
Mm-hmm. Which is
Oh,
why I was saying that we both got to be on the same
you
page. You
got
got to
to
both
be.
clearly make sure that we're defining this what it is. Like if we
You got to
platonic
talk.
friends, yeah, if we platonic friends, like let's talk about this. Let's let us both know this.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think you got some people out there, Shnequia, that have yet to grasp that concept, who have yet to really like own their maturity. You got some
Mm-hmm.
people that still, like I said, they still living in this whimsical fairy tale, land where we're gonna ride off in the sunset and be happily and live happily ever after. And like I said, yeah, you possibly can, but you possibly end up getting your heart broken if you don't learn how to talk and to dialogue and say what it is that you need to say. If you got questions or you feel in a certain type of way, like why not sit that individual down? And I ain't talking about no text messages. That's a conversation that needs to be had either via phone,
Mm-hmm.
more so face to face. So that I agree with you about getting your whole feelings caught up. And then the other, I guess, side to that is, once again, what I said in the beginning. Now, where do you now stand as friends?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because somebody is going to feel hecka awkward in the situation. So where do you go? Do we try to keep our friendship intact? And once again, this is where the maturity comes in at. Or is it time for us maybe to part ways?
Mm-hmm. I just thought about something too in
Mhm.
terms of a con. People could think that you a couple and that might not even be what y'all thinking.
Yeah,
Like, cause I know, there's a thing where you can be like so like really good friends with someone and the chemistry is just on point and like y'all are so in sync that people think y'all together and you're really not. And
yeah,
be kind of annoying too because they're like, oh, y'all such a nice couple, a cute couple, when y'all getting married or something like that. And you be like, oh, bruh, sis, like it ain't even that. Like this is
yeah,
just my homie, like brother, sister, whatever. Like it ain't nothing else like that. So that could be a con too, because it might be like might try to make you feel like y'all are together, and that could hinder you from trying to get to talk to somebody else. Because especially like if y'all might be together. If
yeah,
or whatever, and like somebody might be trying to have like they eye on you, might be interested in you or whatever, and they might be hesitant to kind of approach you because you with your friend, your platonic friend or whatever, and they think that there's more going on than it's not. And then sometimes you might miss your opportunity to talk to someone. Then you have to literally explain the situation. Like, no, that was just my friend.
Yeah. I agree. I
Because I
agree.
know that's happened to me before. I've been friends with someone and people thought we were together. And I was like, no, we're not. And they're like, really? I was like, no, we're not. And so and left it at that.
Yeah. And see, I've experienced kind of like the first scenario that we talked about where I have caught feelings for someone. And but they weren't necessarily feeling that way about me.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, at that particular time in my life, um, like I said, it was awkward. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie and say that I was not hurt. But me looking back now, like Keyshia, all the signs were there. Once again, you got caught up and wrapped up in your own whimsical fairy tale little mind. And so you placed yourself in this position, um, and things like that. So I definitely agree with you, because when it comes to those two cons, when it comes to platonic friendships, we got to be able to communicate. We got to get out of our head. We've got to be mature, to stand in our truth, and you be ready to really hear what that person has to say concerning y'all friendship, as well. And like you said, dealing with outside people thinking you all are together when
Mm-hmm.
the two of you all at the end of the day, like, that's my dog, that's my homeboy, that's my home, my home girl, and there's nothing more, nothing less, to the situation. So that pressure from society to put you all together to make you hashtag relationship goals when y'all ain't even thinking nothing about that.
Right. And I'm glad that you brought that up about, you've been in situations where, you caught feelings for the person or whatever. And that's happened to me too. Actually, that's happened a lot. I feel like sometimes it's either been I've kind of caught feelings or they have caught feelings. Like, it's very rare that it's been mutual. Cause like
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot of guy friends anyway. Like, I'll tell people that, like, I don't. But it's not because like I don't want them. It's just that it just kind of hasn't really been like that for me. But I think when I got older, and when I say older, probably like as an adult, like starting as a career woman and things like that, was probably when I probably developed more platonic friendships, because I feel like I don't think I had that until I became an adult, because I don't think I ever had like a true friendship with someone of the opposite sex, personally, for me personally speaking, because it was either I like them, like I said, really, really much, or they like me.
Right.
So, and it kind of, it made it weird, their interaction. And it was to the point where we had to like kind of cut each other off because we couldn't necessarily see eye to eye on what the direction or the goal was of the friendship. So sometimes that does happen. You may have to do that for the sake of your own peace and mental health.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
I just want to throw that out there.
And sometimes, Shnequia, breaks are not necessarily a bad thing, like you stated. For you to get a clearer perspective about the situation, for you to do some self-healing, some self-discovery, reflection, not only about yourself, but about the relationship at hand. And I'm always the type of person, what's meant to be will be. So if this person is meant to be in your life, on an intimate level, or you all are just going to continue on with your friendship, or for whatever matter, y'all decide to part ways, then what's going to happen is going to happen. I had that happen years ago with the platonic friendship that I had, just like you. We decided it was best at that particular time to part ways. And now, like, we're back together. Like, that's one of my closest friendships. Like, today I can still talk to this individual just about any and everything. And the space that I was back then, I'm no longer there. And so I'm able, when they're talking to me about things that's going on in their lives, whether they're coming to me about work or school or somebody that they may be attracted to, old me is no longer offended, or I'm getting all in my feelings about, why are you coming to me about X, Y, and Z? Like, we've moved beyond that. At the end of the day, this person is really somebody that I truly care about. And I want what's best for them, whether that's going to be me or somebody, or they be with somebody else. Like, at the end of the day, their happiness truly matters to me.
True, true. You know what? While you were talking, I just thought about another con. Not only when we talked about developing feelings, but also jealousy can
Yeah.
be a con too. You know what I'm saying? Especially like you getting jealous about your friend talking to somebody else or expressing interest in someone else, and they like, well, what you jealous for? Because we're not even together.
We're
We
not
talked about this.
together.
And I think that happens a lot too, because I know that's happened to me before. I was just like, now wait a minute, I thought I was the only one that you was calling and whining and dining and things like that, getting flowers for and stuff like that. Well, where's this? Like, where's this coming from? But then I had to realize, like, we never gave this a title.
Exactly.
That we were going to be together.
Exactly.
That was in my head.
In your head. Like I said, at some point or another, I feel like a lot of us have done that. And so you've got to learn to accept the part that you played, in this experience. Like I said, for some people it's gotten really ugly. And for some people, like I said, y'all are able to work through those kinks and some cracks. Like I said, you may feel a little awkward, a little embarrassed, but that's part of the growing pains as well. And so, cuz I'm glad that you learned, from that experience. Like I said, I've been there, done that. And so I'm now in a place like I'm able to help other women, even other, men navigate those waters. And things like that. So, like I said, it happens to the best of us. It's like I said, but it's all about, at the end of the day, what did you learn? And how can you take that lesson or lessons and move forward?
Yeah. Question for you, cuz.
Okay.
Let's say you become in a relationship, not with your platonic friend,
okay,
but you become in a relationship with someone else. Do you feel like you can still be friends with your platonic friend while you're in a relationship, or you're married to someone else? Because some people think that that's kind of a touchy subject. So how do you feel about that? Do you think like married couples and relationship couples can have platonic friendships?
I think if you were talking to a married couple, and depending upon the context of their marriage, because everybody's definition of marriage, we know is different. I think that there are some, I won't say, because I don't want to be the sounding board for everybody. But I think that there are some married couples out there that would say that they wouldn't have a problem with their spouse communicating and or interacting with somebody of the opposite sex, knowing the context of their relationship. And then you have some partners, some spouses that's not going to go for that. I'm now your best friend. We're supposed to be each other's best friend in this thing called life. So I don't, like I said, that particular question, I cannot necessarily answer from the context of a married person, because I'm not married.
But if you were married, or if you were currently like in a relationship, like, would you be okay with your significant other still being friends with a platonic friend? Especially if it was someone of the opposite sex, or someone that, they may have been attracted to before.
To me, it goes back to the context of their relationship. Now, granted, I don't necessarily need to know or even want to know the ins and outs. But I think, like I said, it goes back to how deep, is this relationship? Like, on what type of level are you all? Like, y'all are just friends, the type of friends that just kick it every now and then? Or, is this this chick calling you every day, all day, when something goes down, with her? Or Maybe once you was the type of cheerleader, you showed up to everything, y'all supported one another, and now you can't, not saying you can't necessarily do that now, but you have other roles and responsibilities. So how are you going to respect what we have going on in our union, but make sure that you're not necessarily crossing that line with your friend, and also being able to show up for them as well? So whew, for me, I don't know, Shnequia. Be honest with you, I
You
don't know.
don't know if you would be okay with them being
I don't know
friends.
if I would necessarily be okay with them being friends, but I'm not the type of person like I'm gonna hunt this young lady that no, that's just not me.
I guess I think differently about this because I do think it does depend on the context of the friendship.
Yeah.
Especially if it was a situation where they were truly platonic, like more like a brother sister type relationship, something like that. But if it was someone like, let's say I'm, in a relationship with someone, and it's someone who they have a friend that they've been friends with like since childhood or whatever, and they were in the picture before I got there, I don't think I would have an issue with them being friends. Like, I would trust that you would let them know what's up in terms of like where things stand between you and I in terms of our relationship. Definitely the boundaries need to be set, but I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with them like talking on the phone or anything like that, or like if they met up sometime or whatever like that. And what I mean meeting up, I mean like, like maybe going out to eat or something like that at a restaurant together, or things like that. Because I feel like I don't think I should necessarily have to cut my friends off. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm in a relationship or marriage, especially if these were people that have known me during times in my life that were not the best, especially they know me at my worst and they were there for me and things like that. I don't think that's fair to just cut them off because my significant other has an issue with them being friends. I would want to kind of talk more about what's the reason that you have this issue. Is that more so because of me, or is that because of things that you had going on in your previous past experiences? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it may not be you, it could be something that they have dealt with that they're projecting onto you. But I don't think I would cut.
I wouldn't say I wasn't saying cut them off necessarily. I said before that you definitely have to examine the context of the friendship. So like in that particular scenario, that would be something that I'll be like, okay, I won't necessarily have a problem with. But let's say if y'all have been friends, but at some point, let's say that y'all were intimate, and let's say that this person is still attracted to you, I think that that's a conversation that needs to be had.
Now
because,
that wouldn't fly with me.
Because if not, like I said, the potential to disrespect boundaries and to disrespect me and to disrespect yourself and also our relationship, our union, to me, the potentiality is quite high. And so just like you, and as I stated before, to me, it has to be dealt with on a case by case.
I agree. And I think where I was kind of coming from with that, because I do know some people who feel like when they get in relationships, they cut off their platonic friends.
Oh, I know people like that.
Because they feel like, well, like you said in the beginning, where you were talking about like, not that you were saying this, but you were saying how some people might be like, well, I'm your best friend now.
Yeah.
There are some people that really think like that. And I feel like, yes, this person is a part of your life, your significant other, but they don't need to be your whole life. Like, you still have to have like some time for you to not only be for yourself, but also to be with your social circle too. But don't get it twisted. Like we had said, now, if it's a situation where there were feelings involved, or there was some type of romantic relationship or some type of intimacy, then no, I wouldn't be okay with that. No. But if it's just a situation like, this is my homegirl or whatever, she's like a sister to me, I would want to meet the friend, because I feel like, because I definitely would like, to learn about her and things like that. But to me, the communication just really needs to be there, and those boundaries need to clearly be set, because I come in a relationship with a form of trust.
Yeah.
And so I trust what you're saying to me. If you haven't given me any inkling that you're doing other than what you said that you're gonna do, then I'm fine with that. I'll trust you. You know what I'm saying? But until you give me a reason not to trust you, then it's fine or whatever. But if you done something, yes. But but I just know some people like I will not let you have friends of like the opposite sex or somebody that is platonic.
Yeah. And that can get into, control. That goes back to jealousy, that goes back to insecurity. But also they may be able to see something in your friend that you may not necessarily see. As well. So once again, it's a whole lot of different avenues that you can go down in that particular context. I think another way to look at platonic friendships, if you are in a relationship and you are, considering whether or not, you are going to remain friends with your friend, although you're with somebody else. I think it's important for the other individual also to be, what's the word I want to say? I think that you have to know in some context that your relationship in some shape, form, or fashion is going to change.
Yeah.
Just because this person now has somebody in their lives. So for example, if you all were talking on the phone, let's say multiple times a day, or, maybe he or she sent you inspirational messages or good morning messages or things of that nature, you may not, to me, you need to get yourself ready, prepare yourself that you may not necessarily receive those type of correspondences from them in that matter. If y'all hung out a lot, of course, they're not going to be able to hang out with you as they did out of respect for the relationship so that they now have. And so I think that's another thing that the other individual needs to be looking at as well. Like, to me, don't take it as though they are abandoning you or that they're putting you to, to the side like a little toy. And when they want to play with you, then they pick you back up. And then when they're done, they put you back on the shelf. People do change. We change, our relationships change. And that's not necessarily a bad, it's not a bad thing. And so you've got to also be willing and ready to respect what they now have going on in their lives. And at the same time, as we've stated multiple times throughout this episode, the two of you all being willing and able to sit down as mature adults should and be able to hash through what your friendship, is going to look like moving forward. And if that's too much for you, then once again, you may have to make a decision of whether or not that this individual is going to remain in your life.
Very well said. Very well said. Because I'm glad that you brought that up about that the friendship could change.
Yeah.
Because that very well does happen. And I think that's not even just in romantic relationships, a friendship could change. That could be just in general. Like just in two different stages.
You are.
In your life.
And it doesn't mean that my feelings for you have changed, that I love you or I like you or that I'm going to support you any less. It's that now I have another role, and with that role comes more responsibility. And so to make sure that I'm holding up my end of the stick, some things are going to rotate, some things probably that we used to do and how we used to do it. Maybe we have to get creative with how to navigate those waters, or they may have to just die completely. But at the end of the day, if the two individuals have respect for one another, and like you stated before, because they can trust one another, then I really think that the friendship, it does, and it can stand a chance. I've seen it too many times myself, where people are in relationships and yet they still, have that homeboy or that homegirl, like you said, that they've known for years, that's still there cheering them on, but also there to support them, when need be, and not being disrespectful towards the relationship that their friend is in.
Mm-hmm. Very true. That is so true. Yeah. You know, while you were talking, I was thinking about, you remember the movie Brown Sugar?
Yeah.
Because you remember how like they started off, they was platonic friends, and then they were in relationships with other people, like Tay Diggs' character got married,
Mhm.
and then Sanaa Lathan's character had got engaged to someone else, and then but then they realized that they just belonged together at the end, and then they came together. And sometimes that does happen in
Yeah.
platonic friendships. Y'all kind of test the waters and y'all live a little and y'all date other people. Then y'all realize that we can't be without each other, like I was saying before in the
Yeah.
beginning. Sometimes that does happen, and sometimes, it doesn't. So I don't know why you were talking that movie. I just thought about that movie. Like it just came to my head. I don't know why, but it
And,
did. So
and see, the movie that comes to my mind is Love and Basketball.
yeah.
Yeah, that was another example of a
Another
platonic.
movie with Sanaa Lathan,
It
yeah.
was great actress, great actress.
And they ended up being together
They did. They did.
in
Like you
the end.
said, in the end, they went through some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, once again, what is meant to be will be. They ended up finding their way back to one another.
Yeah. So, well, let me ask you this, because it's related, but it's kind of not related. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but would you continue to be friends with someone that you dated? Like after
Yeah,
y'all broke up? Okay. So
yeah.
you would be friends with an ex
I've
and you
done.
found it.
I'm friends with plenty of my exes.
Okay, see, I disagree on that too.
Yeah, I'm.
and just for me, I know I just personally feel like people are exes for a reason. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean whether or not it was a bad breakup or whatever. I just kind of feel like I don't know, I think it'd just be hard for me to be friends with someone that I dated previously, especially if it was someone that I had like strong feelings with, to the point where we were talking like, marriage or something like that. I don't know if I could still do that, because I feel like it will be a constant reminder to me. And maybe that might be something that I just need to work through internally. You know what I'm saying? But I just know, like, for me, like, I personally feel like that chapter is closed. Like there's really nothing else we need to kind of talk about unless we had like children together. And then I feel like, of course, that would need to be a reason that we would communicate. I know some people ain't gonna agree with me on that, but I just personally feel like I don't think I could be friends with an ex.
Understandable. And I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the type, Shnequia, I don't like to leave any relationship on a bad note.
Okay.
And I've been like that since I was a child. Not now saying, now has that always gone like that? Most definitely not. But for the most part, I can say when things did not work out in the manner or shape, form, or fashion that I thought it was going to work out in, did me and this individual take a break from one another? We most definitely did. I definitely needed some time, like I said, to process some things on my end, to take my emotions off of the table and out of the equation. Because, like I said, I always go back to, and that's why I'm so big on friendships first, and then intimacy versus the opposite. And so, if we came into this thing and we had a solid friendship, at the end of the day, regardless if it went cray cray or went to the left side, to me, if it can be salvaged, and once again, that takes the two people coming together. It just can't just be one person totally by themselves. And in this situation, both of us, like I said, we took time. When I say time, y'all, I'm not talking about no week. I'm not even talking about a month. Like, we almost didn't talk for like an entire year. And when we came back to the table, we were able to have a conversation truthfully, very discreetly, but also being blunt about some things that, hey, when you did or said this or acted like this is how it made me feel. And then vice versa. when it came to me. And so at the end of the day, we were willing to put our past behind us. And like I said, move forward with our friendships. And like I said, to this day, this individual is, we're still, to be honest with you, and we say that like we're actually closer than we were when we tried to date one another, because like I said, we are at that point, we were able to maturely put away our feelings and emotions and let go of all the hurt, the pain, and really get back to the friendship, the lines we should have never even crossed in the first place, and
Right.
while we were brought together. This is somebody, honestly, I think will be in my life for the rest of my life. um this individual was to get married. To be honest with you, I would purchase a gift. They invite me to the wedding, I would be there. And I would hope that they would do the same for me, because like I said, my feelings are no longer, I don't necessarily look at them or view them in that context anymore. I have love for them. I am going to support them. I'm going to be one of their biggest encouragers. But as far as the romantic feelings, been gone, been there, done that. But that's my boy. And so I'm going to be, I'm going to ride with him.
Yeah. I think it just depends on a case by case situation. I think I'm just speaking from personal experience because
Yeah,
I've never,
understand.
you know what I'm saying? Because like I haven't had a desire to want to be friends
Yeah.
with any of my exes because of how things ended, and I just felt like this would not be conducive to my growth personally
Mhm.
by continuing to keep this person in my life. So I think that that's why I'm speaking it from that context. So if let's say I was in a situation with someone, we was in a relationship and it was just really cool, we were really good to each other, and we just kind of felt like, you know what, we're better off as friends, then maybe I might consider it. But I just know from personal experience, because of what I've experienced before. So but
Understandable. Understandable. And I've
yeah.
also been in a situation where I've still wanted to maintain the friendship. 'Cause like I said, I don't like to end on a bad note. I don't, I'm too grown for that. I don't see the point of it. And the person was just like, no, I cannot be your friend because I still see you in that context. And I had to respect that. Like I felt a certain type of way. Like I wish that we can move beyond this point, but I also want to respect your boundaries as well. And so if you feel like we can no longer be friends, without you feeling a certain way or making little snide comments and things of that nature, then it's probably best that we just go our separate ways. If we see each other in public, hey, what's up and goodbye. Like ain't no hard feelings or nothing like that. Once again, you got to do what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm sitting up here saying that I'm the type of support person that's going to support and be there for you, then I need to do that, whether you're going to be by my side or not.
True. True. Okay. Anything else that we
Yeah,
haven't covered regarding platonic relationships, friendships?
I think that we covered them. All I think, like I said, any type of relationship that you're going to be in, as for our audience, I cannot stress enough about communication.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot stress enough. I read all these articles, just about marriages just falling apart, the divorce rate being so high in our country. And, people throw out all kind of reasons as to why people fall in and out of love and why affairs are taking place. And it's because of the lack of sex, or it's because of finances, and this, that, and the third. And I've talked to
Mm-hmm.
so many married people, whether they're still together or not, and the biggest qualm, their biggest complaint is communication.
Yeah.
So for those of us who have yet to get to that point, and that's if you desire to be married and things like that. To me, it starts now in the relationships that we have with people in our daily lives. Because to me, how you show up in one sense, you're gonna also do the same in another context. And I don't believe any differently than that. So while you have time on your hands to reinvent yourself, to recreate yourself, to work on, whatever things that people are telling you to work on, or maybe you've even seen some things in yourself, this is the time to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. Ditto. I think that is well said And that's a great way to end this conversation about platonic friends. No, seriously, I think it is. I think it is. So, moral of the story is, people, make sure, like Lakeisha said, you're doing communication, and also making sure that you both know that you're in a platonic friendship to kind of help alleviate any unnecessary pain and hurt and catching feelings that you might experience.
I
Okay,
agree.
you can do that. So, we always like to end our episodes with an insightful moment for our viewers. And basically, that could be just, a quote, a poem, a Bible scripture, a song lyric, something that can kind of just resonate with you all. And that could be, meaningful to you, and that could be helpful to someone else. And so, I want to share, an insightful moment that we had from one of our viewers. Her name is Carrie. We actually had her on the show last season when we did an episode about strong, independent Black women. So, but she submitted basically a quote. It just says, "Don't do unto others what you do not want done unto you." That's what she said. And so I was just like, okay, want to share that for this particular episode. Thank you, Carrie, for submitting your insightful moment. And for anyone else out there who's watching and listening, if you want to submit one, you can do that as well. We would love to shout you out and read them. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, definitely make sure that you like and follow Insightful Conversations with SNL on Facebook and Instagram. Our username is at Insight Combo WSL. And please, please don't forget to also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And make sure you hit that notification bell button so that way you can always be in the know on when we drop another episode.
Yeah.
And also, we want to go ahead and say this. After this episode, we have one more episode that we're going to do for the season, and we're going to wrap it up. So definitely make sure that you tune in for the next episode that's going to occur in 2 weeks, because that's our season finale. Yay!
Yay!
So we definitely want to, kind of end on a bang. So we definitely hope that you all do tune in for that. And also, I wanted to mention too, in addition to being able to watch our episodes on Facebook and not Instagram, excuse me, Facebook and YouTube, you can also listen to us on all major audio podcast platforms. So if you're at work, you want to listen to us, but you can't really watch us, pull us up on Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We on all of them. Okay? So, yeah. So, with that being said, anything else, Keyshia, you want to close with?
Nothing else, cuz.
Yes, I don't have anything else either. So, until next time, we will see y'all again in 2 weeks. So, definitely make sure that y'all continue to take care of yourselves out there. Love on one another, and just be the best you that you can be. Okay? All right, then. Until next time, y'all take care.
Bye.
Peace.